YouTube world, my name is Nicholas Montez and you're watching my YouTube channel, The Teenage Movie Critic. Welcome back to my YouTube channel, everybody. I'm so excited to have you all back to again. And in today's video, we're going to be reviewing another Celebration of Cinema review. I know this one's actually a little bit late. I'm very sorry. But today we're reviewing both X-Men Days of Future Past and X-Men First Class. Technically, the anniversary of it is for Days of Future Past, but I wanted to include them both because I actually love them both equally, and they are some of my favorite X-Men films. Kind of the interesting thing about this movie, well, First Class really, First Class was actually my introduction to the X-Men franchise. I mean, obviously my first introduction to it was Deadpool, because when it came to, like, the X-Men heroes, Deadpool was the most famous one because of the adultness of it. So, like, of course we knew who Wolverine was, we knew who those characters were, but no one really knew all the other characters inside the X-Men team. So, when they announced that they're putting the X-Men movies on Disney Plus, like, I was thinking, that's impossible, they can't do that, they can only do that with the MCU. No, they're going to cross borders, and they're going to put the X-Men films that are not part of the MCU onto Disney Plus, and I'm like, this is awesome. So, Disney, I'm like, this is great, and then I saw X-Men Days of Future Past, absolutely loved it. Then, I got HBO Max just a couple months later, I was borrowing it from my sister's friend, watched X-Men First Class, loved it, and it's honestly my favorite, one of my favorite X-Men films, probably better than Days of Future Past, but this video is it's going to be a little bit similar to what I did with the Infinity War and Endgame video, where I'm basically talking about why I love these films, but what makes them awesome. So let's go ahead and start talking about that. So I think the two stories with these two movies is quite interesting, because you get X-Men First Class, and it's really the origin of the X-Men, where it starts out with just Charles Xavier and Mystique, or as her real name is, Raven. And I thought it was really interesting, and I think I would probably say, I love Patrick Stewart as Professor X, but James McAvoy brought this different sense of the Charles Xavier character that I really loved, and the relationship that like all these themes about being normal, that they're not normal, and sort of stuff in like blaming Raven that her eyes got mixed apart or something like that. It's like they play these performances to perfection, and then you get into the backstory of Eric Lehnsherr, and played by I forgot his name. Hold up. Trying to go. Oh yeah, Michael Fassbender. Eric Lehnsherr's story with Michael Fassbender. Great performance in that character. Now, I would say that this is the better version and the more interesting version of that character with Michael Fassbender, because he just brings so much to the role, which we'll talk about more in the character's side of things. But even then, like, his whole character is just so sad, as his parents was taken from him during World War II, and even during the Holocaust and all that, and then of course you get the other heroes, and when you get the relationship between Charles Xavier and Eric Lehnsherr, where you have these two people that have these different sides of things, they have great friendship, but they have these different visions as to how do mutants and humans interact, where Eric Lehnsherr just wants to kill all humans because of what they did to his family, and all humans want to kill mutants, where you have Charles Xavier, where he feels like they could actually learn. They could actually, like, the mankind is something worth protecting. And I think that's something really interesting, especially when you get into the third act, and a First Class at least. And, you know, all these missiles are shooting at Eric, and you think they're about to blow up. He stops them, and he's about to do it. He's about to send those missiles back to the ships, and he's gonna kill all those British soldiers. But Charles he can't stand this, so he has to stop him, and then gets shot in the spine. Crazy, impactful, and very shocking. So I thought the way the story played out in that, and it also sets up Days of Future Past really well. But then you get into Days of Future Past, and it's a different type of story. Of course, it is an excellent time travel story. I would say that this movie probably has the better time travel elements than what they did in Avengers Endgame. Because the way they did it just kind of felt a little bit lazy. It felt so obvious as to how you can do it. This movie actually did time travel in a way that I never thought I would expect. Where there's stakes to it. As you have Rogue controlling Wolverine's mind to keep him in there at that timeline. And in order to keep him in, she has to stay focused. And it's intense. And not only is it a great time travel story, and it works for that story that they're telling, it also feels like a great sequel to First Class. As you continue the character of Charles Xavier, and that he suffered so much, and that he can't stand all the voices in his head. It's like he does not know how to control this. And even in the arc when he finally realizes, I'm gonna not take this serum, I'm gonna use the wheelchair, I'm gonna use Cerebro again, and he's finding himself again. And it's like that's an excellent story, and I love that the second film was all about believing in people that they could do better, and I love that. I really love that. That's why I feel like that's why everybody loved it. Like, it had some cool action, but it actually had a great story worth telling that I thought was just excellent. So now let's just kind of move on to the next other part. So obviously these two films are impacted with tons of different characters. Of course, you have Charles Xavier played by James McAvoy, which is an excellent character from start to finish, from the first film where he's trying to explore, well, not explore, but he's trying to be this mutant guy, and he's trying to believe that he's really a person that believes in others, that they could do better, and I love his arc. Eric Lencher, more on the other side with Magneto, where he was suffered through his parents during the Holocaust, so he just wants to kill all humans, and so it seems quite exciting when you get into both of these films. Mystique, also a great person, as it also has an interesting story with her, where she feels like she doesn't really like what they're doing, and so it leads her to do bad stuff. Like, I thought the way she was written was really well done. Nicholas Hoult, I thought, was a great character. I thought seeing him as Beast was pretty cool. Whenever you saw him, I thought just him as Beast was great. Even the other characters in here with seeing Wolverine interact with these characters, I thought was fun. Even Charles Xavier's girlfriend in the First Class movie, I thought was great. I thought all the little side characters from the First Class X-Men movie, I thought were pretty fun, though I wish we could have gotten more of them. So overall, the characters in these two movies were very well written. And also Kevin Bacon as Sebastian Shaw, pretty great villain. It was kind of funny because we got him in the Guardians of the Galaxy holiday special. So I'm thinking, if they're gonna do this multiverse thing, how are they gonna bring him back? I'm interested to see how that's gonna go. So I think what's great about these two movies is that they really do have these powerful scores. Now, I didn't necessarily remember a certain score from one of these films, but it is the score. The X-Men score for the movies are fantastic. They are iconic, and I definitely love them. So the score in these movies, they're great. Now, of course, as it is a Marvel movie, you have to add those awesome moments. I feel like with X-Men Days of Future Past, they do better with it, where you have all of the Quicksilver sequences, you have all the Wolverine moments, but especially the Quicksilver sequence, this was the one where I was like, yeah, this is awesome. The slow motion shot looks awesome, And the fact that he could just stop motion in time just to save all these people, it's awesome. I loved this. I thought this was a great way to do this, to do the scene. But even the other scene where you get Eric Linter slicing the coin through Sebastian Shaw's head, I'm like, that seems. I thought the way that scene was shot was very powerful. As you know, Charles can kind of feel the pain that he's feeling as well, as he's kind of in his mind. It was very well executed. I don't think the First Class movie has anything like awesome. Like I don't think it has any like awesome moments, like superhero moments where a character is fighting. It's more about story, I would say. So, but the movie still has great, awesome shots, and it still is great. So now let's talk about the last thing we're going to talk about here are my personal connections with these two films. So I kind of talked about this before earlier in the video, but like I said, Days of Future Past was my introduction to the X-Men franchise. Besides Deadpool, this was my introduction, mainly because they decided to put it on Disney Plus during quarantine. And you know, I thought, we're in quarantine, you know? We might as well be doing something with our lives besides just sitting around, eating junk food, playing games. We also want to watch movies. And the X-Men franchise really... I'm not going to say it like helped me, it got me out of my funk, but part of the experience of watching Marvel movies, like not just MCU, any type of Marvel movie, it's an escape. That's what these movies are made for. And really, even before these movies were made, they were comics. Before they were shows, they were comics. Before they were video games, they were comics. We should all be thanking Marvel that we have these movies. And having these like awesome characters that we all know and love. This are great movies. And it really was it honestly was an enjoyable time just watching them during quarantine. Like, I got to watch Deadpool 2 with my mom. She really enjoyed that film. Then I watched The New Mutants, X-Men, what was it? The Last Stand. Watched The Wolverine, Logan. These are my favorite film of the X-Men franchise. So it was just a fun experience to see some of the worst and some of the best comic book movies ever made. This was definitely a fun experience, but also these two films were easily some of the best films in that franchise. So I loved watching these movies. And that is my review for Celebration of Cinema Review for X-Men First Class and Days of Future Past. Thank you guys so much for watching. I really hope you enjoyed. Don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe. All my social media stuff is in the about section over there. And I'll see you guys in the next video. Bye-bye.